Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After podcast. And what an episode we have just
Yeah.
witnessed.
What's up, guys? I'm just like in episode two, coming in hot, just finished the episode. And this one, you called it. There was a tribe swap. Not like
Not
a
a
bunch of
traditional
people,
one.
but like, it's small enough where you change one person and that definitely changes dynamics. And we kind of saw the we did kind of see how that really affected, tribe chemistry and a little bit. It opened up and we saw Josh, Dr. Josh, and like, him feeling like he's with the numbers and stuff like that. And then the rest of his tribe's going like, let's get rid of this guy. You think he's in the middle? No, he's on
Yeah.
the
He
outs.
he is reminding me so much of Gio from last season, where he thinks that he's playing such a better game than I think he actually is, and like I think he's gonna keep doing that until he gets voted out. It's like I still don't have like high faith in him going very much further in this game, whether it's next week or early merge.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
after this episode, I think he and Carolyn are like this.
well, I do. I think they're like going to be very close, but I think he's definitely not going to be working with Jam Jam. Clearly, the Green Tribe wants to get rid of him. He's going to be the first person thrown to the wayside. Carolyn will is so emotional that I don't think, even though she's wanting to work with Josh, I think if Carson's like Carolyn, the logical move is for us to take out Josh. I think Josh goes.
Maybe uh I don't know. We have like one more episode before the merge.
Yeah.
We won't get into like the what is it? The preview for the next thing. We'll save that for a bit.
Mhm.
But like, next episode's gonna be very important when it comes to like because supposedly final one before pre-merge. Um we may not get a Mergatory this season,
Yeah.
but I'm getting ahead of myself. But I don't know. We did see also with how things went. There's also the X that
Carolyn.
happened.
Yeah,
Carolyn,
look at her playing the game, thinking outside of the cage, and finding a way to use the thing that she kind of forgot to do when she found, the idol originally. So she was able to still make use of it,
yeah,
even though
no
in the
payoff.
grand scheme of thing, it doesn't matter at all at this point
I I
because
feel because like when Sarah left, when she was talking about, oh, I'm part of an exclusive club of people who went home with an idol in their pocket, I could only imagine the sigh of relief she gets after watching this episode, being like, at least, like I would have looked like more of a fool if I played a fake idol or something. I feel like maybe she's more at peace at what happens after this episode as yeah, as one could be for being, a pre-merge boot. I say that, and as we discussed, we'd probably both be pre-merge boots
yeah, yeah,
ourselves.
we have that potential. We either have the potential of going very far or going off very early.
I'm too much of a troublemaker. They will get rid of my ass.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah. But
yeah,
I just feel like Carolyn is playing such a good game. Like it is so unconventional. And I think that's what scares a lot of people is like that is not how we viewed how you play Survivor, but she is doing it the Carolyn way. And I don't know if that's going to warrant her a win and in the end of the day, but I think we as of right now, she is playing the game so good because no one realizes that she is playing
yes.
the game as good as she is.
All right. So I'm. We all know how I feel about Carolyn, or we all knew how I felt about Carolyn when she's not talking about digging through her son's shit. I like her a little more. Um, I do think I did start to feel for her when Jam Jam was starting to
Mhm.
I don't kind of like put down. his number one, basically being like, oh, we're just gonna say to Josh to put all the votes on you and everything. And then
Mhm.
Karen's like, yeah, because I'm just throwaway vote and I'm the pawn and like screw that.
Mhm.
I'm tired of being like that. And what the episode was named after was I'm Felicia.
Yeah,
And like
which that
during
was
that,
such a funny tribal council moment. Like I was waiting for the episode title to really like come up and for her to
yeah,
really say it there.
this is one of the few times where I was like really thinking about what that meant. Because like I either A, don't see it, or B, um or B, like I do, and it's like just like a little thing. But this one I was like, I'm Felicia. And so like my analytical brain is like, who could possibly say that? I'm like, is Ratu gonna say that? And it could be, like who from Ratu might say that phrase? Would it be Jamie? Would it be Lauren? Like who could that be? Or Heidi. Or like would it be Heidi? Would it be Matt? Or Matthew?
Yeah, there's a lot
Um,
of other options I think we would have thought of before Carolyn.
I thought maybe Carolyn, but all right. I thought the like way it was going to be like uh I thought it was going to be like a confessional thing. I didn't think it would be like a huge like thing that was kind of like said in the
Uh-huh.
episode. Um, but yeah, Jam Jam, he
This
just
is a bad
burned a bridge.
episode for him. Like,
He gets LVP, just
yeah,
like
yeah,
flat
this
out.
yeah, he's had such a good edit, I think he's been playing really good, but multiple times this episode was just pooping on Jam Jam. Like it was on Carolyn and Carson, the two people who he's like closest to, basically were throwing him under the bus.
Well, I mean, like I understand from Carson's standpoint where it's like, hey, this person is in a tight duo with someone else.
Yeah,
Um, you know, might as well try and like get favor with the tribe I'm with, even though I have a idol, um, to try and gain favor with Matt. Or is it Matt? Yeah, it's Matthew. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. There's two
Um,
Matts, Matt and Matthew.
Matthew, one armed Matthew.
Yeah,
Oh,
part of me that's really hoping one of them goes home. I mean, we got a potential one of them going medevac next episode, but we don't
I
know
think it's
that.
too.
Who
I
knows?
think it's. I
I
think
think
it's
he's
too
getting too.
advertised.
He's getting way too good of an edit for him to just be a pre-merge medevac. Like they would not have given him this much screen time for him to go home in episode 5 without
unless they're
him going to.
really unless they're really pulling at the heartstrings for it.
Yeah, I mean, is that or season 45 is a captain season with Bruce and Matthew, and that's the whole angle is they're trying to build up how great these medevacs were.
Maybe. I wouldn't say great. How sad they were.
Yeah, well, just how great of people they are, aren't they?
Yeah,
Aren't these two like heroes? Like Bruce was a first, but we barely got to see him. Yeah, Jeff was like basically saying how great of a guy is. All the tribe was saying that he's our hero. He's going to be our captain. He's our hero.
yeah.
And so and we're getting the same thing with Matthew, where he's literally like MC status right now, where it feels like he's the main character of that tribe. So yeah, it could be their way of saying, hey, these two are coming back, but I don't know.
That's always a tricky thing because like we do pay attention to the edits and stuff, and
Mhm.
and confessional count and whatnot. And, I know last episode, I'm not trying to like put you on that because like I've been guilty of the boat theory. Uh, but, you were like, oh, I think all four of these people are making it to the merge. And very next episode, a Tika member goes home.
Yeah,
And Sarah got a decent edit last episode. So, I mean, it's always one of those things where you never really know. And sometimes things are thrown in there as a red herring. Um, so it's always something where um, it's always like a game of like, oh, the editor's trying to subvert expectations as well as like us, like, but still trying to give us like, a cohesive story.
Yeah, I
Um,
think Sarah's obviously the one that makes the most sense from Tika to go home from a editing and story wise perspective. Like Carolyn, Carson, and Jam Jam have just that like they have gotten so much screen time. Like that they
yeah.
have clearly been the three people you look at Tika. And that's just kind of what ended up happening. So it makes sense that Sarah goes out here. I really do think Sarah and Helen got really screwed from that episode one medevac. Like I'll just be completely honest. I think Bruce is the person like the other normal person on this tribe that they really needed to like have the normals versus the wild characters. And the fact that it kind of just immediately skewed one way, I think really harmed them.
Well, yeah, because if we look at how many challenges they've lost, if we look at episode one, where Ratu, when they were doing their first immunity challenge, they had someone that was kind of like going through medical stuff during the challenge when Brandon was pretty much overworked himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so like even then, like they continued the challenge and Ratu played with one less person.
Mm-hmm.
And then we look at Green Tribe, whatever happened last episode, like not everyone can win every single one. And it was pretty puzzle heavy, when it comes to the four colors and whatnot. And it wasn't as physically demanding as other, like this one. This one was
Mm-hmm.
pretty physically demanding and it required balance. Balance can be tricky.
Yeah.
We saw like two different contestants struggle on the balance beam. One of them being Jam Jam, the other one being, Kane. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and so, like on that team, as we see it, I think Tika gained, like obviously we see Josh, he's shredded. Like the dude is cut. So like they gained some muscle. But they also lost one of their best puzzle makers too. So
Yeah.
now, um, but I mean, Josh is a smart lad as well. So, like, if I'm thinking of like where this tribe is and tribe chemistry, and like not only that, but also how well they will function as a team, regardless of how I don't want to say fractured, because it
Mm-hmm.
was like Jam Jam basically has to do damage control now,
Yeah,
and
I
like
think Tika has gotten slightly physically stronger, but but in the same like metric that you raised it up physically, they also I think dropped puzzle wise and strategic wise in terms of that. So, um,
yeah,
so it almost is like a fair trade actually. But the thing is that I think it benefits Ratu significantly more because they struggled heavily in puzzles. Like that was clearly one of the things that they needed to have one more person, like one person who can really come in and be that problem solver for them. And now that they have Carson, I do think that they're going to be a very strong tribe. I actually think that even though they came in second tier, I think that they're more likely to not be last than Soka and Tika right now.
I feel like with Tika, it's like you never really know with the thing. But it's like if I'm looking at where Tika is right now, I don't want to count them out, obviously, but at
Yeah,
the same time, I would say like if we're looking at how dire things are in each tribe,
yeah,
theirs is pretty dire on a larger scale. One,
yeah.
they have the least amount of people by
Mm-hmm.
like they have two less than both tribes. And then two, like the mix of the how things ended up, it doesn't seem like they're a strong team altogether.
Yeah.
And the teamwork thing, like I don't know. I feel like when it comes to teamwork is more than just you have if we're looking at like a if we're looking we have the brain, we have the brawn and all that and like we have
Mm-hmm.
the people that are great at like challenging. We have people that are great at balancing or stuff like that. Another thing is how well people work together. And after this episode, I wonder how well they're going to work together after this.
Hmm. Yeah, it's I mean, she gets the best situation, best person in that tribe right now is Carolyn. She can work with Josh, she can work with Jam Jam. They're both going to be looking at her come this next vote if they do go. And so Carolyn will be once again in the driver's seat. All Tika tribal councils would be Carolyn, dictating who's going home, which no one preseason would have predicted that.
No, no. Uh, the thing is, it's like she presents herself as someone to be underestimated in the sense like, yeah, I'm probably going to play like Nora. Right off the bat, oh, okay. So she's, but
She's the goat, right? She's got to be the goat.
well, and I think it's like, she's someone where she's herself is trying to subvert the expectation and being like, you know what, screw that. I am a human being. I want to play my own game. And,
Yeah.
thing is, it's like, I wonder how things are going to play out once she makes it to the merge and be
Yeah.
like, because like when it comes to that unexpectedness, it only lasts for so long. And
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that does put a target on her back once she does make the merge.
Yeah,
Uh,
and like when you think about it, like from her, she knows so much information going into these tribal councils, and she's still having these overreactions to everything, thinks she's going out. What's going to happen when it's chaos and there's just too many people talking for you to actually know what's about to happen at tribal council? Like she hasn't really had that opportunity yet, so I'm very curious to see how she's going to figure. I think the second that happens, she might just play her idol just to get rid of it, because she's gonna because I think she's just such a she can get panicked and have all the anxiety and freak out. I do think we're probably going to see her maybe play the idol at the merge.
uh, I think now you are underestimating her. I don't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't say that I'm fully came around on her. Like I'm
Mhm.
still like
I think
it,
she's getting a very good at it. Like
she
I'll
is
be
getting a good edit. I feel like she's definitely if I were to say like a main character, she is a main character.
yeah.
Um I don't know. I feel like she's someone where because people are coming to her for information. Other than the fact that I feel like she was like Josh knew he couldn't talk to Jam Jam or Sarah, but he knew that he could talk to Carolyn.
Mhm.
And so, like, people are openly talking to Carolyn about strategies and stuff because, well, I mean, Jam Jam might have a different opinion now because, like, oh, wait, Carolyn went rogue. Uh, and it wasn't a thing of like, oh, Carolyn put all the votes on, also voted for Josh so she can have plausible deniability. She was like, no, I am going to show that I am with Josh now. Take that, Jam Jam. Take that, Sarah. Um,
uh,
so I feel like people are going to come to her as like maybe a swing or like
uh,
they're not going to expect her to do anything with the information.
Yeah, I think that everyone is out there viewing her as the goat that is just going to be brought along to the end, which is weird because we've never really seen, I think, that goat that is meant to be just brought to the end become like actually be a power player. And I think that Carolyn is this power player that I don't know if they'll ever really see her as a power player, which makes me fear a little bit for like final tribal council if she ever got there, like her being able to tell everyone all of this great stuff, or is it going to just seem like this crazy woman who's now, you know, coming up with all these great stories or of how things go. I don't know how that would go, but I think that she's actually very due for that very deep run that is, I mean, yeah, I just see, I don't see how she goes home. Like even when she gets the merge, she's like just like Nora. She's not someone you just take out right at the merge. You take you like you let that Carolyn person or the Nora person get to the end because that is someone that you go into Final Tribal thinking, okay, I only have to face one person here. But even if that's not true, because I think Carolyn is playing a very good game.
I will say she is playing a good game. I think in the sense of like if we're talking like I guess it depends on how savvy everyone else is picking up. Like, I feel like Carson would be the one to subtly start to notice stuff like, you know, like, hear me out, guys. But Carolyn, here's A, B, and C. But just hear me out. I feel, or like, maybe there is someone there, or like, we see with, the nerdy showmans with Franny and Matt. You're like, hear me out. Maybe, yeah, I'm noticing things. Like, I'm feeling like, I don't know, like when it comes to a big move like this, and this wasn't like a subtle big move, this was like an in your face move, like I said.
Mhm.
So it could be a thing where maybe people won't expect her to make big moves, but at the same time, once a big move is made, then it's like, hmm. It turns heads to the person and it's like, wait a sec, maybe we should. Like, the thing
Yeah.
about a goat is if the goat doesn't make any big moves, that's what makes them a goat. But when it comes to like, because right now Carolyn's not hiding the fact that she's making big moves.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, I mean, her whole idol thing, I think was a big move that somehow, literally, she should have been caught, but they underestimated her so much that they just didn't even think
yeah,
that Carolyn could even find like there's no way Carolyn found the key. No way she went in there and got the idol and made it look like clearly someone had gone in there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, she still has the idol.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would definitely say Carolyn, my opinion of her has become more positive.
Mhm.
Um, as long as she stops the poop stories, we're good.
Yeah, I think that is her winner at quotes is that she had to go through some poop to come out on the other side and claim the $1 million. Is that gonna be her character arc?
uh, uh,
Uh,
oh my God.
Man,
Uh,
I'm still here. I'm just waiting. I want the Gabler Carolyn winner from this year. Like,
I still don't want her to win. Don't get me wrong. I still have also she didn't come to the little the Bryce and Wen presents thing. So like, now I'm rooting for people I saw there. So sorry, Carolyn, if you showed up, maybe I might have had a different opinion, but all right. But speaking of that, one of the people I did meet there was Jamie. And let's talk about this twist because when we
Oh
did
yeah, I have thoughts on the twists.
um well, actually, let's go a wee bit earlier when it comes to, I was a little bit thrown off when we were seeing a challenge
Yeah.
because usually, like, we don't see, I was like, holy crap, is this going to be a double elimination episode? Um, but
Yeah.
it was a reward challenge, and Soka dominated. Ratu came in, second place, and Tika, or yeah, Tika
Yeah.
just Tika.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but they do reward challenges every other day, and every other day is immunity challenges, but they just don't show reward challenges unless it ends up being important. Which this one they did put an important thing in, so that's why we ended up seeing it. I noticed. I don't know if you caught this, but Josh was like washing his hair with what looked like shampoo, and I'm pretty sure they did not give them shampoo out there. So I wonder if that was some reward that we just never saw.
wasn't
That
this
yeah, like it was weird. He was like washing his hair with like clearly it looked like some kind of white,
suds?
yeah, it's a foamy thing or whatever. And I was like, that looks Like, what is that? Like that that is not something that I think you just find on the beach. Uh,
Seafoam? No.
yeah,
But
yeah. So yeah, yeah. If you want to also go into the this conspiracy theory of are they giving him shampoo out there? But yeah, no, they do these reward challenges, but this one obviously is important because the Soga tribe gets to choose who goes to the Advantage Island or whatever you want to call it. And Soga makes such a stupid decision, I think, by sending Josh, the
well,
person that clearly is the one on the outs, and they're like, let's send him to get a very clear advantages or like basically being given out. Obviously, they don't know like to the extent it's about to be, but they
yeah,
should know that sending him there is like a at least 80% chance that he's walking out there with an idol or some advantage.
true. Very true. Maybe they thought he was gonna. Maybe I mean it would be safe to assume that it might be a similar format where it was like, oh, you are going to lose your vote or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so like maybe that was their kind of like reasoning behind it was like,
Yeah.
okay, so we're gonna try and make him lose a vote. Um, that's probably what they were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I just think that whenever there's one or two people on the outs, you just never let them play the game.
get a
Like you
chance to
just you
get
just don't you just
advantages.
don't let them play the game. Like it's that simple. But yeah, they decide to let Josh play the game. We also get Carson and Jamie also go there, and yeah, I think that this should not be something that they ever do in Survivor, where they're just given an idol that it has a very clear small expiration dates, which means there is almost there's no incentive to not play it if you go to a tribal council because
Yeah, that's fair.
at the very least, like even if Josh has a bad shake of things and they lose again and he ends up going home, like it's just so it's so dumb that you're literally just giving everyone there an idol. They're basically guaranteed because there's only going to be two tribal councils. That's what we assume at least. Maybe there'll be more before the merge, but we're assuming that's kind of the realm we're kind of in, and
Yeah,
they're getting this idol that is only going to be played for those few times. So yeah, it's basically just enjoy your like 70% chance of making the merge now. Like
sure. I mean, I would say the only thing, and I feel like this was an important thing to note too, where yes, they do get an idol and it's a functioning idol. However, in alternate realities, Josh did play that idol for Carolyn. Carolyn did not warn Josh about it. And so even if you're given an advantage, there's still a way to mess it up.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
so I'm pretty sure that was the 30% you were talking about of like not making it to the merge.
Yeah,
Um,
there's the chances, but yeah, it just becomes I think I said this even preseason that Josh feels like someone who would get swap screwed. He feels like the kind of person that the second he isn't with his original tribe, he goes home. And that ends up
that
being
could have happened.
100% the case of what would have happened here had he not had the idol. So that's like one of those like weird like I'm right there on how this person would play the game, which is always nice.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't think that they should just like at least Survivor give them a clue. Like if they have to go out there back to their new camps and find the idol, that is now 100% okay. But to
yeah.
just give it to them, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to risk anything. They don't have to play anything. They just get an idol because they were selected to go on this journey is not acceptable.
I don't know. I don't think it's not acceptable. I feel like it's one of the things where since this is like one of the only times I think the last time this has really happened was Matt Singh, where it's like one person going off and pretty much being traded to another tribe, basically.
Mhm.
Actually, I wouldn't even count Redemption Island or not Redemption Island. Same. the Blood versus Water, because Laura just kind of joined the All-Star tribe when it came
Mhm.
to that,
Yeah,
for the returning players. So like it wasn't necessarily 100% like that, but like they're going in and they're the only person going into a new tribe, like
yeah,
each one of them. And so them getting an idol is more so of like, you're not totally screwed. So I don't think it's unacceptable. I mean, is it something where it's a pretty good
yeah.
trade-off where I think you end up more favorable? Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like,
I think it's starting to go into the unacceptable waters. That's basically what I'm saying. In the fact of that the production is now trying to say it's okay for us to just give these players things, and it doesn't matter how they got these things. Like it used to be very like whoever is finding things and getting advantage in the game, they tried to do it, which makes them feel like it makes them feel more important that they have these things because they had to work for
yeah,
something. Now these idols that we have just given to these people felt way less important because it didn't feel like they had to do anything for them. They were, and that's not good. That diminishes the value of an idol. It makes it feel way less important to what the show is all about. The fact that someone has just been congratulations, you
just
got on
give
the
it
hood
away.
on day 8.
I will say maybe not do it again
Yeah.
since you put it in that context, but at the same time, it's like it's another element to add to things. I think it's going to be cool. It'll be interesting to see how it plays off in a sense of like now we have Jamie with a fake idol and a real one. And it's
Mhm.
like, all right, well, if let's say the Soka tribe doesn't go, she could have like two idols basically that are both null and void, but she believes one is a fake while the other ones are real. And so like there's a lot of different things that can kind of like there's like future things that can be played with it. When it comes to Carson, like I feel like the name of the game this season could be Fake Idols,
Yeah.
because so much of the idol play has played a factor into the sense of like last episode, it was all about finding the fake idols. This one, now if Sarah played her fake idol, like it would have been something where it been more emphasized, but like that it is a recurring theme within this season is the fake idols, whether it's by production or by the fans or by the contestants themselves, like what Matthew, one arm Matthew, decided to do.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Clearly, that I think that was the in big letters and in the marketing room of this season was fake
Fake
idols.
idols.
Yeah, like they really wanted to drive that home, and I think a huge part of that, I think I even said it last week, was almost half the players who played 43 wanted to use those beats as fake idols, and because of how the twist that they had originally planned for went, I think that just wasn't able to be happened by so many of these players. They're like, let's make it up. Let's have a bunch of fake idols happen in the next season to still give us what we were supposed to probably be getting in 43.
True. It's true. I don't know. It's always tricky when it comes to production and like because like this season it's not a beware advantage idol. It's
Mhm.
something where there's a lot of risk that goes in with it. Like obviously we saw Brandon have to find the key and then opens it up in front of everyone and it's like, oh yeah, guess what? There's a fake idol in here.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't work when you say it that way.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, does Carson know about the fake? I wonder if they've told him that there was also a fake idol in the birdcage because he's someone who wouldn't have known that information yet.
to be fair, they could not say, like that's always the thing when someone joins a new tribe. It's like, well, usually it's more than just one person, or if it is like, like each season it's different and when it happens, but it's like, whenever two different tribes, or like people from different tribes like kind of come together and now are on the same tribe, it's like what do you know?
Hmm.
You want to know what I know? What do you know? And like, it's like you want to feel out the information, like, before you answer. So it could be a thing where they leave him in the dark, but I don't know. I get the sense from Ratu that yes, they're thinking of like we're not really seeing we see that they're a very unified tribe. Like
Hmm.
last episode with Kane, he was like, 5 nights going into these things. And then like this one, you did feel like a sense of camaraderie when it came to that. Even though like Jamie left, Matt he went up to Carson and was like, building that bond with Carson and everything. But it never felt like, oh, I'm using Carson to help get rid of, Kane or Lauren or Brandon. It was more so of like, I want this ally because I'm not guaranteed to get Jamie. Um,
Hmm.
Especially because, oh, she's all alone on this one tribe. So it's really like I would say like Carson joined, I'd say if he had to give up his own tribe, he kind of joined the one where it's I don't want to say kumbaya, but they're very like team driven, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. It's probably one of the harder ones to really crack, but I mean he has Matthew that is clearly trying to work with him, and I think I do think Carson is someone who can very easily endear himself to a tribe.
Yeah,
Especially since they didn't go right away. He'll have at least a little more time to get that traction. Um,
I do want to say this because we were talking about how yeah they came in second place this one. Um, Part of the reason they came in second place was the fact that well, there's two reasons. One, Lauren couldn't grab the key and she thought it was best to like go forward. I guess I don't know why. I guess it was something where it's like, oh, she didn't want
yeah.
to do a
Yeah, maybe she didn't want to risk going up there again and not
and
doing
not
it.
doing it, and
And
then pulling what's his face? Forgetting his name.
Adam
Adam
Klein,
Klein, Jinx.
yeah,
Uh Pulling an Adam Klein and then taking a while up there. So maybe it was that, but like the fact that Brandon had to like swim all the way out there and do the whole thing again, it was a drawback.
yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously Zane he had some
You
or
mean
not
Kane?
Zane, Kane. Uh, Kane had trouble on the balance beam, so it was, a little tricky for him. So like those were things that held him back. But once they got to the puzzle, it was like that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think that this tribe's going to be fine. I think this was just one of those like sometimes a
Pickup
really difficult
points.
challenge like tribe can have like something where there's a little stumble, but I don't really judge that moving forward to whatever next challenge is. Like I still would bet money on this tribe with at least being in the top two of the next community challenge.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um,
Um, let's
said
see what else. Interesting confessional that I noticed from Josh this episode. He said that he felt like a lamb going into the lions. Remember, Erica's whole story in 41 was the lamb to lion storyline. Is that what we are getting here with Josh? Is he the lamb going to the lions to become one himself?
I feel this was a good episode for him. Um, he was definitely, unbeknownst to him, doomed on his tribe and like getting the idol and getting like a second life because like if they go again, I don't actually I could see potentially them getting rid of him because it's like, oh, we're going into when it's 12 people, that's going to be mergatory. So, he's an altogether well put guy. Let's
This
get
is
rid of him.
the part where you usually take out the players like Josh
Yeah.
is around here.
Yeah. So like maybe he's not all safe, but then again, does Carolyn still want to work with Jam Jam?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think that's the real thing. And the reason that I actually don't think this was a good episode for Josh is the problem I think he had on Ahsoka Tribe was he thought he was playing this really good game and was in the power position, but wasn't. I actually think that is still the case in Tika, where he thinks he's going to have way more power in this group of three than he actually does, where all the power is in Carolyn's hands. And I think that honestly could come back to bite him is if he now starts acting like, Carolyn, don't even have to worry about it. We're taking out Jam Jam. It's you and me. And I think that that would not fly with Carolyn because I think that she wants to be making the big moves. And if someone comes out as just do this, Carolyn, I think that that will instantly put out her alarm bells now of, oh, they just want me to be the follower. I now can't be the follower.
Well, I feel like Jam Jam would come to her to the same thing where,
Well, no, I think he's going to be desperate because he was just on the outs. So he's going to be
yeah, in
way
the sense of
more.
like, if Carolyn's in the middle, both people are going to come to the middle to try and sway. It's just Josh and Jam Jam just like, being like,
Mhm.
come over here, no, here. And it's like, Carolyn is like the toy in the middle, and it's like, my, my alliance member. No, mine. I knew her longer than you. Yeah, well, you called her Felicia. I know a Felicia, and she's very nice. Not,
Yeah.
but we all know the bye Felicia
Bye,
thing.
Felicia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean I understand what you're saying there, but I think that Jam Jam is going to be a lot more like Carolyn, let me work with you, whereas Josh is going to be a lot more in this next one. We just got to do Jam Jam. Like it's like don't why are we even thinking about it? It's like that's the move. Um
Sure.
yeah, which
I don't know. How aggressive can you really play when there's only three people in him? Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, like,
I mean, there you gotta still be talking to people and trying to say is this like I think that that's going to be before they even lose immunity challenge. I think that's what I'm trying to say is that he's going to go back to tribal council and be like, or back to the camp and be like, okay, Kellen, we made the merge. Congratulations. We just got voted out Jam Jam now. Don't even worry about it. And I think that's I think if he talked strategy before they lose, I think he's going home. I think he needs to now honestly just try to still keep the tribe a little like he needs a fake cohesion, which I don't think he's going to be able to do.
I don't think it's as cut and dry as that in that sense. It's like, I understand, oh, I don't like being told what to do. And so I'm going to do a thing out of spite. You know, I don't know. Like, I understand wanting to take destiny into your own hand and all that stuff. I don't know if you want to do it to the point where it hurts you.
I
I
mean,
feel
I'll
like,
be honest that this vote from Carolyn was exactly that. She didn't like that the move. The vote was happening a different way than what she had wanted, than what she thought. And even though it was, I think in a way could have been done the right move. If they did have Josh play the idol on Carolyn, like that would have actually been a good move. You would have potentially, you would have kept Tikas together. But the thing is she was told that move. She wasn't given the opportunity to converse in the move. She was told this is what we're doing, and that ultimately was the thing that sends Sarah home. Ironically, is this whole like if she was just brought in onto the thing and they had and I think that's also Carson was, I think, very important to the Tika tribe because he was the person who could pull Carolyn to the side and have these conversations and make it feel like they were working together. And now that that's not there, it felt way more like Jam Jam is in charge. This is the move because Jam Jam said so. And I think that Josh is going to have a similar thing. And because he hasn't had that moment of being on the bottom, I think he's going to still think that's the good thing, which is I think him walking into the problem of what caused this vote out from Jam Jam.
why do you think Josh is just a shitty person? Like,
Well, we've seen it. So we've seen that he doesn't know what's he keeps telling us, Man, I am in control. I am in the power position of this game. And yet every time we cut to anyone else, they are basically telling him he is not in the power position. They want him out of the game. Like the only person who stood up for him was Carolyn, but it was more of just because she was upset at Jam Jam.
I don't know. I feel like we're selling Josh a little bit short here, or not me. I feel like you are a little bit because I'm like, I
I
don't think
mean, the
he's
edits. I mean, I would go to the edit every day, but he is not getting a very
on
satisfactory
the
edit.
on the one tribe. On the one tribe, I feel like things are much different here. Like, I feel like going forward, it's like I don't think you'll be like, yeah, yeah, jam, 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 jam. That's what we're doing and stuff like that. Well, I mean, like, well, who the fuck else are you going to target?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well,
who's your only
I think
ally?
we should also remember he literally came onto this tribe, told a lie, everyone found out it was a lie. Like
Yeah,
that was how he got introduced to this tribe, and that is a very important thing. Like that is another negative that we got to keep remembering is that there, like as much as he plays the idol correctly, survives this, which in a world you can say that that was it's good for him, but every time it feels like any player is really talking about Josh, it is not good. It is, we want to get rid of him. He thinks he's in charge, but he's not. Like that is currently kind of what we are being told in the edits. Which I just can't not like we've got that from multiple people now, and I think we're literally getting it again now.
I
So
don't fully agree with it. I feel like
well,
it
how
is
can you disagree? That's what they said on Soka.
Soka.
Yeah, yeah. And now, yet again, we are going into this tribe where Josh comes out of a tribal council thinking that he is on top of the world. But we got to still remember Carolyn and Jam Jam were the duo of this tribe for so long, and Josh has
Hold on,
not been.
hold on,
He
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. You said this
Okay,
very key, important word.
okay,
Were,
yeah,
were,
yeah. Yeah,
were.
time is more important than the time that we get on the screen, and I'm just gonna say that almost every day, especially I think when Carolyn found out that Josh had an idol, it became way more dangerous to target Josh at that tribal council than it was to make her own move, because she knows she can get rid of Josh's idol and make a move, whereas if you just take out Josh, well, now you're in a situation again where you let them have the power. You're not really in as strong as a position as you are now. I think that it was a good move for now, but yet again, I just think that the time out there is way more impactful than what we can get on the screen, and I'm more likely to believe a duo who were really strong with each other, being able to have kind of like one little, hiccup or something and be able to still work together.
I don't think it was just like a one little. It was like maybe the one episode where it was the hiccup, but I feel like the little things started to like add up. And also, how does Jam Jam feel here? Like, you know, now he has to go to damage control and come off as damage control. I feel like it's not as I wouldn't say it's as clear cut. I feel like yes, there is the possibility of Josh going home because we're closer to the merge and stuff like that. And like, I don't see them going past because they do like the mergatory. Now, whether or not that will be a thing depending on the fate of Matthew, one arm Matthew. We'll
Mm-hmm.
just have to clarify next episode. I don't know. I feel like it's a thing of like they're teasing it, but I don't know if it's an actual medevac.
Yeah, it feels, I mean, it's hard to say because they did use the audio from what seemed like, he was being seen by medical, like there's a very clear like difference between a confessional audio and when people are like going down because of medical, and it did seem a little more on that scale, but yet again he could just go to medical and be fine. Like we don't really know, and the only reason that I'm still not really like super convinced he's going home is he's just getting this crazy good edits. Like
Yeah.
it would be baffling. Like I would be floored if he goes home.
Yeah. I don't know. Like that's always the thing when it comes to I don't know. I feel like when it kind of like the similar thing with Pat, where he got a lot of screen time his first episode. Well, the only episode he was in.
Yeah, but that's because they wanted to show him for this episode. But we are getting, honestly, like at least most of this season so far has been almost from the perspective of Matt. We saw a preview. The to show off the season was a minute and a half clip of
Yeah.
Matthew climbing that rock. Like that is very
No,
clear.
like obviously that puts like a big importance on Matthew.
Yeah,
Um, so like that's always like I don't know, it's always like those things when it comes to edits. Like, are they doing this to I use this phrase all the damn time, subverting expectations. So I don't know if the subversion is, oh, they showed us to us, so we're not gonna think he's the winner, but then we're gonna think he's the winner. Or it's like, or if it's like the hole in this donut is not just like a donut hole, but a mini donut with its own
mhm.
smaller hole. It's like how deep you look into what we're being shown and all that. I feel like
Yeah,
Matthew, I definitely want him to continue because I think he is a very smart player.
yeah,
And like
yeah.
he, at least from the edit, he was the first one to jump on, Carson being, on the new team and like building stress with him and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he's playing the game really hard. Like I think right now the power player on Ratu is Matthew. I think the power player on let's see, let me look at this real quick.
Soka,
Yes, Soka is Danny, and the power
Danny,
player on Tika is Carolyn.
Carolyn. Yeah,
Like right now, those three are the power players kind of dictating what's going on in their tribes. Doesn't
I
necessarily mean
agree.
that one of them is going to be the winner, but as of right now, they are the ones I think with the most say moving forward in the game.
Agreed. Agreed. Speaking of Danny, um, when Jamie did join that tribe, we did see Danny go through her belongings and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, Matt, Blankenship, he was like, she could still have it on her person and whatnot. But, I think there is something to be said of like when you do actually go through someone's bag. That could actually be bad for Danny down the road. Because, what if down the line they're like, hey, Jamie, Danny, right? Yeah. When he came, he went through your bag. We didn't say anything at the time because we
Yeah.
weren't sure when, like there could be a potential way to spin that.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean it's unfortunate that they didn't get to see 43 and how that caused Ellie to go home. But
totally.
yeah, it's searching through bags are it's definitely dangerous territory. But Danny, I feel like every episode keeps giving me the Tony vibes that he's out there to play hard and doesn't care if he's does anything to rub anyone wrong
The
in the game.
wrong way.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's gonna play the game.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else before we go to confessional count?
I'm trying to think if anyone had anything interesting. No, this was the least. Yeah, I guess I'll just go into conventional ones. That this was like the first time Matt, the not one armed Matt, actually only got one confessional. So, definitely that we saw a little bit of a dip of the edit because he's been kind of getting all of the Soka screen time. Besides when we cut to Danny doing Danny
Would
thing.
you be saying that he would soak up? a lot of screen time on that Trunks.
Wow. Oh, good dad joke there.
Thank you, thank you. I thought of it on off the top of my head. I didn't plan that one.
okay. Well, we'll take your word for it.
I probably would have inserted that way sooner.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
um,
So yeah, let's see. So currently, the most confessionals goes to Queen Carolyn with 20. She is currently in the lead. Clearly, I mean, we're seeing way more of Carolyn than anyone on the season so far.
you got she was pretty important when they went to tribal council, so it made sense. Like I yeah.
Yeah. And then we have a tie for second between Jam Jam and Matt with 18. So they're still getting some pretty good edits. Brandon is then next with 17. It's so interesting because he had 14 confessionals in episode one. Since then, he has gotten one confessional in each episode. So they're making sure to let us know about like his perspective of the game, but
Yeah.
he's no longer Mr. Confessional over here.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe they were like, let's share the screen with other people.
Yeah.
Other people are making really big moves. So let's
Yeah.
not downplaying Brandon whatsoever, but like
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to ignore when people are finding fake idols and people are
Yeah.
swapping tribes and
Yeah.
all that.
And he went to tribal in episode one and hasn't gone to tribal since.
Yeah.
So there is always that. But yet again, it's important to know that he has been checked in on, whereas some of these other Ratu members have episodes where we don't really see what's going on with them.
And
Um,
Lauren being a big one, which is sad.
yeah, Lauren got nothing this episode.
She
The
didn't
only
really
thing she
get
got was in the challenge. That was
yeah.
the only thing. Yeah, and then let's see. So now fourth most confessionals here it goes to Carson with 16. And then we got Matthew with 15. And then we got Danny with 12 and Franny and Jamie with 11.
All right. All right.
Yeah. And then Lauren with 10 and Kane with 9. So Kane has the least, I believe. Oh no, Heidi has 7. My bad.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
so yeah. Kane is now currently in yeah, he's now getting close to the purple edit. Um Josh actually moved up quite a bit here.
oh yeah, because this was like a very important episode for him.
Yeah, he got 7 confessionals this episode, so he's actually at 11 right now. So
Yeah. Let's see. It is funny. I did look at confessional counts for other seasons as well. Just be like, all right, well, or particularly 41 through 43,
mhm.
since that's kind of like the newer frame. I'm like, all right, so what's the kind of like average you're looking at for a winner? I do want to go back and see, obviously the data's out there. How many, what is like the highest confessional count
Mhm.
for a winner and then the lowest, just to be like curious about that.
Yeah, I think Natalie White does have the record for least confessional counts.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I think there's a reason why we haven't seen an edit like Natalie White's before. I think even though we got Erica's edit recently, I don't think we're ever gonna see an Erica styled edit like that again, where it is like get nothing until near the end of the game and then have a power spike. I think that we are probably going to make sure that every winner story has at least a very clear start to it. Like even Gabler's, like if you go and look at it, he actually has a very clear like start where he's like everyone is perceiving me as that I'm clueless or I don't know what I'm doing or I'm dumb. But really I'm a surgeon. I know what I'm not. I'm not the things that they think that I am. So I'm gonna play into it. I'm gonna be the Owl Gabler. I'm gonna be hidden in plain sight. And he was hidden in plain sight. Like that was still a very clear like episode one edit that we get him talking about every episode, basically. Um So like it was there. We just didn't want to believe it was there.
It's still one of these days I will rewatch for well, because I've seen every season up to 40 once because pandemic and had a bunch of free time.
Mhm.
Uh, so I have not rewatched 41 or 42 or 43 yet. Maybe certain episodes, but
Mhm. Yeah,
you
there's a
know,
few episodes I rewatch for like the podcast. If I'm like, hey, let me roll in, make sure I know any weird hidden things that were happening. But yeah, I haven't really gone back too much to watch. I know Rob Cesternino actually did a video where he went back and rewatched 43 and just looked at the Gabler edits.
you know, that makes sense. I don't know. Gabler did really shake up what a winner could be.
Yeah.
Um, so it is one of those things where, because of like Gabler was like because the people that were rooting for Gabler or like think he was going to win, I wonder how many people did that as kind of like a joke.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of joke goes out there where it was clearly I mean he just looks like the first boot of the season. Like let's just be honest. He looks like he's the guy who he looks like the chicken Morris of the season like
I
just
was literally thinking it's the hat. It's the hat.
yeah, it's the hat. But yeah, I think because of how well he did, I think now as viewers, I think a lot more viewers are actually putting in more respect to Carolyn's game because Carolyn is, I think, in the same archetype of this kind of crazy person who is actually pretty intelligent, but is such a wild character that people just don't think that she could do it. uh,
But I don't know. I will give. I don't want to be overly generous, but I will give her MVP this episode.
yeah, I
In
will too.
this, yeah, in the sense of like taking the power in her own hand and like moving forward, she has that flexibility, and also how other people might interact with her.
Mhm.
Because if that's how everyone's going to act with Carolyn, like Josh did, not in like a thing, but like, oh, someone they can go to because I can't trust everyone else because, oh, they could be lying or something like that. I can trust Carolyn because she holds herself to be a pretty upfront person.
Hmm. Yeah, I also think that's right. I mean, she's before this episode, she was in the power position with Jam Jam. She is now in the power position as Carolyn.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to have someone else be her power position right now. She has the best options in the game where it's like there's no way Jam Jam and Josh are working together. So clearly they got to go to Carolyn.
Unless they both realize, but unless they both have that aha moment.
I do not see that happening for them. I don't think
Who
they got
knows?
the
You
information. I
never
don't
know.
think
I don't. I don't know. I feel like. Have you seen either of the new Scream movies?
no, I haven't.
Well, it's a theme in both, but like in Scream 5, it's been out for a year, so I'm not gonna spoil that much. It's more so like they're so meta that they're like, oh, but it could be you, or it could be me, or wait, maybe we shouldn't do this because that's how this works. I
Mhm.
feel like or at least my headspace is so meta with it that I'm like, I could very much be overthinking way too much on this, but at the
Mhm.
same time, I don't think I am, especially after a Gabler edit or Gabler win, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. I think we got to be open now to the people who before we would have written off as goats to potentially end up winning the season, especially if they're actually being shown to have some level of game competence. Like
Yeah,
Carolyn is like we can disagree with maybe moves that she ends up making, but I actually think that uh for Carolyn, like she's just playing the game the best way I think Carolyn can play.
yeah. I mean, like it it's one of the things where if we look at the X thing she did,
Hmm.
um, she made a mistake. She did, but she found a way to fix
Hmm.
that mistake where
Yeah.
people did fall for it. Well, a person fell for it in a sense.
Yeah,
So in
it's
a
very
sense, it's
possible
like,
people could just like say, "Oh well, I guess this fake idol just never will be used. Like,
yeah,
just give up," and she didn't.
yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, any game you play, you're gonna take like a little losses and stuff like that, or anything you do in life. It's never gonna be 100% perfect. And what, especially in competition like Survivor and stuff like that, no one plays a perfect game. Anytime
Mhm.
you go to tribal council pre-merge, that's something where, oh, that's a slash on your little perfect ideal survivor record or something like that. You're going to lose an ally or two or
Mhm.
all. How many allies you are blessed with out on the
Yeah.
island. Uh, but yeah. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, I think clearly Carolyn's won it here. I think I won my one last week, and did you get for like LVP last week? I forgot.
No, I gave the whole Tika tribe LVP.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah. LVP though, that is a
I have to give
little.
it to Jam Jam.
Yeah, 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 that's right. Jam Jam clearly was not looked very good this episode. This was by far like the cracks of Jam Jam's game have just been completely blown up. And not only by his tribe, it is now also being brought over into the Ratu tribe of he's the kingpin, he's the
Yeah,
leader,
yeah.
which is not never a good position to be told from by
No,
someone else.
no. So that just puts a target. Because like, oh, now you have things to worry about when you get. Thing is, he doesn't even know he has to worry about it.
Yeah,
Especially if
exactly.
we're talking the Purge or Murgatory. It's like, oh well, Jam Jam.
Yeah.
He's we have to look out for him. I mean, there's like a if it plays like it has in the past, it's a 50-50 shot that he will be going to that he will have to earn his buff by surviving at tribal council. So, like, if that's a name that's been thrown out by someone who said, hey, watch out for this guy, if he's vulnerable, they might, we talk all the time, especially in our brand seals, how messy the first vote is when tribes come together.
Mhm.
You know,
It's
any
it's it's
reason
almost
for it.
impossible to predict.
Yeah. So if there's a big name going into it, kind of like in last season where it was like, hey, this person went through my bag and has been, gaslighting me. Let's target her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Gaylor, yeah, throwing out Ellie's name because he wanted to throw out Ellie's name.
Exactly. It's like, hey, I'll throw out a name because here's a reason. And people are like, yeah, 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 yeah. Ellie.
Yeah. Yeah, you can throw out a name as long as you have a very good reason behind it. If you're just throwing out a name because it's like, well, I think this person would be a great person to throw out because maybe they're just strong or whatever. Like sometimes that's a little harder to as a sell, but when it is, very clear, like, oh wow, this person was just controlling your tribe. That is such an easy pitch to other tribes.
Exactly. Exactly. All
Okay.
right.
Well, I think that does it here for the episode. Is there anything else we got to talk about?
All right. I guess the next time on Survivor, as we already said, One Arm Matthew, they hinted at a possible medevac. But also we also saw Carson being pretty integrated onto the Ratu tribe.
Mhm.
Um, Other than that, I mean, that was like I said, I only saw the preview once, and then
Yeah.
like at that point, I'm like, all right, looking at that, still like thinking of like, all right, what am I going to talk about with Joe? Um, so yeah, um, if Matthew does get medevaced, do you think there is still a possibility of a merge episode next episode? I highly doubt it because they do, like you've said in the past, they do like to advertise it,
Mhm.
but you just never know with Survivor.
Yeah, what I think could happen is if we get Matthew medevaced, I still think we get a tribal council. I think that that becomes almost a double boot episode in that situation, and then the next one will be our mergatory, where then we would how would that be? Would we be at 10 going into a merge?
11.
11, yeah, yeah, 11, yeah, and then that would probably be where the merge starts.
Yeah.
But so yet again,
Maybe.
that is on just if a medevac happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do have to think about this. The preview into the season was that it was going to be physically brutal, and obviously we got the Bruce thing, and then we saw the preview of Matthew falling and breaking his arm, or not
Mhm.
breaking, dislocating, or whatever the diagnosis was.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like I can see it happening either way.
Yeah,
Um,
I know Jeff Probst did say preseason that there were medevacs happening,
Plural.
like plural. So it does like that does cause alarm bells going off.
Yeah. Dot dot
So who
dot.
knows? Who knows? Yet again, we gotta watch next week to see what happens. I think we'll know if Matthew's still in the game and don't if we have to worry about his arm or not worry about his arm. But he is in all these challenges and still trying to participate, even though he's like holding his arm as if he's got it in a sling in challenges. Like
Yeah,
that,
especially in this one where it was anything slingshot related.
yeah,
That
it's
takes a
tension. That's a tension challenge, and you do not want to be testing your tension skills with an injured arm.
exactly. So like props to him for doing it, but like
Yeah,
he wouldn't have been in order to swim, you need both arms.
yeah,
Like, in a sense of like if you have two arms and you're used to swimming with two arms, making that adjustment with only
yeah,
one arm is very, very challenging. So I don't know how he would do in that challenge. I don't think he would do well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's tough for Matthew out there, but yeah, I think next week we'll know for sure if we have to worry about his arm moving forward or if this is just like a pre-merge storyline that we're getting for Matthew.
We shall see.
Yeah. Okay, well, that does it for this episode. I suppose we shall see you in the next one.
All right. Peace out, guys.